A very good day to you. Welcome to Herman Manyora's channel. My name is Jadiel, Kabiro. It's always a pleasure to have you when we have these political conversations every single day. I'm joined by the one and only Herman Manyora. Sir, how are you doing new week?
I'm okay in this new week.
Just fine.
Very fine, not just. You can't say just.
There's a difference. You teach linguistics. Okay, let's get into today's conversation. We're speaking about Moses Kuria, Chama cha Kazi party leader planning to join Kenya Kwanza Alliance, said they're in talks. Should Raila be worried about Moses Kuria going to that side?
Moses Kuria is an inconsequential politician. At some point, he has some little weight, which he has squandered. In the manner in which he's talking carelessly, sometimes almost childish. You know, even if I die, don't take me where should we? It's bordering on being childish. But more importantly, Moses Kuria is inconsequential because of flip-flopping. When you flip-flop, you have to be very careful. That has a capacity to consume you. But more substantively, the reason why Moses Kuria is consequential is because where will he get the face? I know politicians are shameless. But after what Ruto had said about Chama cha Kazi, about briefcase village parties like CCK or Moses Kuria, and Moses Kuria's reaction thereof, until even recently, when he was saying ANC and Ford Kenya are not Kenyan parties. He's waiting for William Ruto to come for Kenyan party, then CCK will join. Because how could he admit ANC and Ford Kenya when he had said UDA was not going to admit any village party, any of these small parties? They wanted just be one. If you wanted to join them, you join them. You join UDA, don't come as a corporate member. And this was aimed more than anybody else. It was aimed at Moses Kuria. Because he was the most vocal of those fringe parties, especially from Mount Kenya.
What do you think?
So why is he getting the face now to tell us about Kenya?
You can't say he's inconsequential because he holds sway in his region. He's a member of parliament from Gatundu South. At least people know him. He knows how to speak to people.
Let me tell you this, Jadiel. If Moses Kuria defends his seat today, when he's going against Uhuru Kenyatta, he will not make it. Yes.
He's planning to go for the gubernatorial seat.
That's when he will be shown who he is. That's the time he will know who he is. Yes. That will cut him to size.
You say without Uhuru Kenyatta, Moses Kuria is no one?
Nothing. Not Moses Kuria alone. All these small politicians from Mount Kenya. You wait and see.
What do you think he has seen in Kenya Kwanza after all these talks of saying he cannot join them because they refuse? What do you think he has seen? Because he was set to join Oka. Now Oka is planning to join Raila. Why now go to Kenya Kwanza? What do you think?
Sometimes it's unfair to say this, but sometimes you look at Kenyan politicians. You look at the moves they are making. I know politicians can make any move. Because they say politics, bear serious semblance to the oldest profession. We don't want to mention it. So they can do anything. But sometimes you look at certain moves and you ask yourself, could it not be the case that there's some monetary considerations here? I mean, when a man does certain things, okay, as a politician, you can do this tomorrow, you do the other. Say this about somebody, tomorrow you're dining with him, whining with him. But there are certain moves that might lead somebody to suspect that some people have been bought. I'm not saying anybody has been bought.
But we're speaking about Moses Kuria.
I'm just saying when you look at Moses Kuria as an example, you can't understand his moves. People may be forgiven for thinking there's some money involved.
Should the DP celebrate?
And I'm very clear about my language. Let nobody come. I know language very well, and I know communication.
So I'm
not saying Moses Kuria has been bought. But I'm saying when you read into his moves, I will forgive people for beginning to imagine or even to think that Moses Kuria could have been received some consideration.
Should the DP celebrate now that he has Moses Kuria? We saw when he came back to Kenya from Dubai, there was quite a party for him. Should the DP celebrate that such a man
Moses Kuria is my friend. When he came from Dubai after our prayers and he had gotten well, he thought there will be a standstill. Nairobi will come to a standstill like Matiba. He realized he's nobody. He's a nobody in Kenyan politics. So this is some of the reality I tell politicians. If you want to know you are an intelligent person, don't tell me the things you can do. You should know by yourself the things you can do. Once you know what you can do, what you can't be, what you can try to be, what you can try to do. You can see that the English, eh?
Yeah.
Once you know that, you distinguish that which you can do, that which you can try, that which you can't do. Once you reach that stage, you are an intelligent politician.
So for Moses Kuria, what do you think he cannot
I think he has
do?
not
What
known.
are you trying
I
to
think he
drive?
doesn't seem, he's overrating himself.
Ah.
Yeah. And I've told you, it's not Moses Kuria. All these small, inconsequential junior politicians, in the fullness of time. And when I talk of fullness of time, I'm not talking about a year or 6 months. In the next 2-3 months, you are going to see.
Okay,
They will be reduced to nothing. This is how Kenyan politics works. You see there's an onslaught on Deputy President William Ruto. And he's falling into the trap. He's beginning to lose his confidence. The moment he has dropped down. These other fellows will be... And let me say something about Moses Kuria. Moses Kuria was the biggest beneficiary of a weak or a dead Jubilee. Because I said that in the final analysis, UDA was going to remain a Rift Valley party. Very, very few, I should use the word few, will be elected on UDA ticket in the mountain region, especially the Kikuyu land. And the biggest beneficiary of that scenario, of that kind of arrangement, of that kind of situation, was Moses Kuria's CCK, much more than anything else. So it was CCK, Mwangi Kiunjuri's TSP, PNU, you see, in that order. But he was on the top. But you know what is happening now? Jubilee is back, as if nothing ever happened.
So Chama cha Kazi...
Oh, it's an inconsequential village party.
But when you look at what he's saying he's in talks with close to 21 parties.
Which parties?
Close to 21.
Which? Anybody can... You know how many parties there are in this country? The last time I checked was 89.
But these
and
parties,
counting.
These parties
so
are from the
one
mountain
of
region.
21 from the 89. Unless you are in the top 5, you are not a political party.
I'm saying these parties are from the mountain region. He's coming with his Chama cha Kazi. Doesn't this tighten Ruto's grip?
But I've told you there are 89 political parties last time I checked. And it's quite a while back. And the counting. Because there are various stages. You know, processing an application for a political party. Those that were fully registered were about 89 or thereabout. So if you pull 21 from there, they will be inconsequential.
Aren't you saying that because...
There will be briefcase things.
You might be saying that because Kenya Kwanza, if it was Azimio, you'd probably say something differently.
I'm not Azimio. Am I Azimio?
Some people say you
No, they have a right to say. That's the beauty of democracy. You can say anything you want to say.
We'll talk about democracy, but let's talk about this. Right now we have Azimio La Umoja coming in, bringing in One Kenya into pact. They are going to sign. You've said that it's going to happen. And we also have Kenya Kwanza on this other side. Moses Kuria going with these 21 parties, which you clearly dismiss as parties that are going to be influential. Which side seems formidable when you look at what Kenya Kwanza is building and what Azimio has?
I strongly believe, and I could be wrong, and perhaps in the interest of Ruto I should be wrong. There is nothing like Kenya Kwanza coalition. That is a weak... You've seen in the past, in the recent past, Rigathi Gachagua says this, Malala says this, ANC responds with a tough letter, and it's just the beginning. You don't expect those kind of things in Azimio. Because Azimio is held together strongly. Kenya Kwanza is UDA. Anybody who tries to say anything that suggests that UDA is not the main thing, that Ruto is not the main thing. I saw a very awkward situation in Trans Nzoia. I witnessed a very awkward situation in Trans Nzoia, where Kiminini MP, I think, is called what? Wamalwa. He's talking about a hustler government. He's talking basically about Ruto being the president, and and Nani is there. Wetangula the fifth. You see those awkward moments?
Yeah.
Oh, my friend. It's because in Azimio it is focused. Ruto used to laugh at NASA and has been laughing at the Raila side. That sisi tuko na chama, tuko na form, na tuko na candidate. Now it is the other way. It is Azimio that has a candidate. That one is not in dispute. Azimio has Raila, and nobody is trying to bring anything around that.
Kalonzo wants to
but
go.
Now him, I know he's a candidate. But there are some minions from ANC trying to convince lawyers that it's not done. is not yet over. There's the possibility that Musalia Mudavadi can be the candidate. And even Wetangula the fifth. You can see the kind of...
When you look at what people say about Azimio, you said that Kenya Kwanza is UDA. Don't you think Azimio is still ODM? When you look at what the perception that is out there, you cannot come to Azimio. We already have a candidate, which is Raila, and this is the push they're taking towards Kalonzo, that ODM has Raila, and therefore, if you want to come, you have to accept that Raila is going to...
Azimio is more than ODM. NASA was ODM, perhaps. But Azimio, you remember, Jubilee has a prominent space within Azimio. So NASA has prominent people inside. Raila and Uhuru Kenyatta. And Gideon is on the way. So it cannot be one person. The other side is Ruto, alone. Where issues of Kenya Kwanza, if you wish, but I wish to call it UDA. Where issues of Kenya Kwanza are being discussed, it is UDA and is Ruto.
Oh.
Period. At least the other side, you can say there's on the table, there's Ruto, there's Uhuru, there is Raila, there could be Gideon. And perhaps, who knows, sitting on some corner of the room, there could be Kalonzo.
You put him at the corner.
Yeah, somewhere.
Well, let's talk about this now. What DP has been saying while abroad is speaking about democracy being in question in the country because they're trying to impose a president in the country. When you look at this year's elections, we're going to be thinking about the shift from two tribes getting the presidency seat since independence to a question on democracy in this year's election.
I think all those things are on the card. Democracy requires continuous vigilance. Vigilance. Continuous. If you sleep, democracy slips out of your fingers. You wake up to find it's not there. So people discussing democracy, that is the norm. That's the way it should be. You know, mere elections, holding elections every 5 years does not amount to democracy. We must keep questioning things. So if Ruto is questioning issues of democracy, it's right.
Do you think he holds, he's right what he's saying about this year's election is going to be an election in which people are trying to impose a president, and that president, according to him, is Raila Odinga?
I think these are lamentations of a losing candidate. When a candidate is not they are losing, they will say the way he's saying, they say the things he's saying from the book of lamentation. That is obvious.
Is this what we're going to remember in this year's election? That
there will be much more, but this is going to be a major thing. Because as we move forward, a weekend Ruto is going to speak out of desperation, out of anger. He is going to look more irritated, sound more irritated, and speak out of turn. And not only will he question the elections of August, he'll say a lot more things like he began talking about the government of which he's a member and the president under whom he serves. I
think my question is, are we going to remember Raila, if he becomes president, as a president that was imposed?
I don't think so. I have said this, and allow me to say it perhaps for the last time. Don't ask me this again, please. I beg. You cannot talk of Raila and the project in the same sentence. You cannot talk of Raila being imposed. When many people know, on more than one occasion, Raila has won this thing. Raila is a formidable force. Raila is a machine. Raila is bigger than size. Raila is a monument. Raila is an institution. How can you talk of Raila being a project, being imposed?
Well, I think
you impose somebody who, I don't want to mention some countries because then that's not very good, but there are countries where you can see clearly so-and-so was, it was stage managed for so-and-so to become president. There are countries like those, and we can name them. But let's not do that because let's be fair to these countries. Some of them are our neighbors and so on and so forth. And some of them are Africans like us. But can you say that of Raila? You know, you don't need to love Raila. You don't need to be a supporter. You just need to be honest to yourself. Can you talk of Raila being imposed? Surely. Raila can be supported. Okay?
Yeah.
He can be assisted. He can receive support and assistance. That is normal in politics. But to talk of it, to impose Raila, my friend, it's like the sun is shining and you're saying somebody has imposed the sun. But the sun will just have to shine.
In a recent interview, you said that it is a long game. They're putting Raila there so that a prince comes into play. Correct. So isn't this now...
That's not imposing. No. You are getting somebody who even on his own has gotten. And now you are only facilitating and making that fit into your design and your scheme. You see, like you get something, instead of getting one which will be very difficult. You get the one which is just ready. You use it. But the person, you cannot say you are imposing him. You have your design. He's fitting into your... He may not even... He may know or he may not know. The long game. But at his age and experience, he would know. And he may not mind. But not to impose is to suggest, here is a person who on his own cannot win. Or even get near winning. I don't know whether you get what I'm saying.
So you think
that person is imposed. It has happened. I'm almost mentioning a country, but I check myself.
Okay, let's end the conversation there. If you haven't gotten it yet, he's saying it's not being imposed. Raila himself can win the presidency without being supported by, well, the state. Until we do have these conversations again, thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Jadiel Kabiro. I do hope you have yourself a lovely rest of your day.